Good afternoon, and thank you all for coming out, and especially to our media partners. Thank you for your time to cover this press event with us today, and I also want to thank the departments that are represented here with us as well. My name is Steve Dillard, and I am the East Tennessee Law Enforcement Liaison for the Governor's Highway Safety Office. I want to thank Chief Bryce Justice for allowing us to come here to Bean Station to conduct this press event. Chief, thank you very much for allowing us to do so. Today, we are here to talk to you all a little bit about the holidays, as they're coming on us pretty fast. And as we prepare for the holidays, I do want to talk a little bit about Hawkins County and Granger County. First and foremost, I want to thank the leadership of Sheriff Lawson and Sheriff Harville for what they're doing in Hawkins and Granger, and all the municipalities within each one of these counties are working hard every day. Every day is important to each of us as we look at trying to protect our highways and our roadways. But the holidays have a little more significance to it, as most families are getting prepared and excited about the festivities. We know in the law enforcement community that we're going to have people out here on our roads who are going to probably be driving a little bit faster than they should. We're probably going to have drivers who are busy texting on their phones instead of keeping that telephone down and out of the way. And we know that with the holidays, parties are going to be very prevalent as well. And that comes then with our impaired drivers after the fact. So today we want to talk to you a little bit about what we're going to be doing as far as enforcement measures. And like I said, I want to tell you just a little bit about Granger County and Hawkins County. Today is not, we're not here in no way to cast blame on anybody or anything. We're here to help them. As I told Sheriff Lawson and Sheriff Harville a few moments ago, we are here to support them. We're here to support the municipalities. We want to provide you with whatever we can to help you as you continue your goals, objectives, and activities for this holiday period. As always, we look a lot at numbers. And one of the things that we noticed this year is in both counties, there's been a little slight increase in their fatality numbers. So I went back to 2010 up to where we are today and got a little bit of data that I want to share with you. Because amongst all of the departments answering their service calls and all the other duty calls that comes with their responsibilities, they're also having to investigate crashes, partnering with the Tennessee Highway Patrol as far as crash investigations. And I want to give you a little idea of what's going on in these counties. I want to start with Hawkins County first. Going back from 2010 to where we are presently today, we've had 44 lives lost on our roadways. 44 may not sound like a lot, but that's 44 lives and 44 family members that lost their life either trying to get home, going to wherever they were going, but they never made it to their destination. During this time frame, the counties had to investigate 1,470 injury crashes. During this same time frame, they've investigated 3,314 property damage crashes. There's 42,774 licensed drivers just in Hawkins County alone. Also, with this type of population, we also have 4,660 motorcycle operators who have motorcycle endorsement license to operate a motorcycle. In 2013 alone, Hawkins County had to investigate 26 motorcycle crashes. In 2013, there was 74 investigations of impaired drivers that were involved in crashes. 7 of those were killed because of the impairment before driving. They've had to investigate 210 speeding-related crashes from 2010 to 2013. In 2013, there was 5,312 drivers between the ages of 15 and 24, our teen population. Sometimes our less experienced drivers who are out here operating an automobile. And 9,634 drivers are over the ages of 65. So we have a very diverse population of ages that are driving on our roadways here in Hawkins County. Let's look at Granger County for a moment. From 2010 to 2014, 33 lives were lost on the roadways in and around the Granger County jurisdiction. 623 injury crashes were investigated, 983 property damage crashes. 17,356 drivers have a license to drive in Granger County. In 2013, 1,632 drivers have motorcycle endorsements to operate a motorcycle. During 2013, they investigated 5 motorcycle crashes. In 2013, 25 alcohol impaired crashes were investigated. And between 2010 and 2013, 11 alcohol impaired fatalities occurred. There's been 94 speeding related crashes investigated from the Granger County area. 2,244 drivers have a driver's license in Granger County between the ages of 15 and 24. And we have 3,757 licensed drivers from the ages of 65 and older. So we have a very diverse population in both counties. As we begin the holiday enforcement period, which will start next week, what we want to try to send home to our drivers, to our citizens, is that your life is very important to us. We care about you on our highways and our roadways. Every day is important throughout the years, but the holidays has a little bit more of a value, because the most troubling thing for any officer that is standing here or that's out in the field will tell you is when you have to go to a home on Thanksgiving Day or go to a home on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, and you have to tell a family that their loved one will not be coming home because they have just lost their lives on the road. That's very tough. And that's something that law enforcement, of everything we do, that's one of the things that we don't find pleasure of having to do. So our goal, certainly from this point on to the end of the year, is not to have another single fatality. That's our ultimate goal. But we want to remind our drivers just on several little things. And each one of these representatives here will also be speaking about this. Remember to watch your speed when you're out here driving. It's so easy to get on that gas pedal trying to get somewhere. A lot of times when that behavior happens, they usually don't get to where they're trying to go. Telephones are one of the greatest things that we have, but it's one of the most difficult things we have in our cars. Please put your telephones down if you've got to text and drive, or text. If you've got to text, pull to the side of the road, go to a parking lot. But this texting and driving is becoming an extreme problem. And we're seeing more and more crashes happening where people take that 1 to 2 seconds off the roadway to text their message. And the next thing you know, either they rear end somebody, someone pulls out in front of them, or some type of accident has occurred. If you're going to drink and drive, get that designated driver. Have somebody pick you up. Just don't make the decision to get on the roadways and choose to drive home after you've consumed a large amount of alcohol. I will tell the citizens this simply. If you don't have a designated driver to get you home, they do. And your home for a while will be the local jail for you to sober up. We don't want that to happen to you. Make good decisions on the road. And finally, seatbelts. We want to encourage everybody, take that second to put your seatbelt on. More and more crashes that we see, and many crashes that you, the media, publish, has one statement at the end, and it's always this statement. If that driver had their seatbelt on, their life may have been saved. So this holiday, we don't want it to be a holiday of tragedy. We want it to be a holiday of celebration and a time that everyone can enjoy the fellowship with their families, their friends, and wherever they're going to go throughout the state of Tennessee, they can get there safely. Today, we are fortunate to have my director from the Governor's Highway Safety Office, Director Kendall Poole, with us, and I appreciate him taking time to come to East Tennessee. We welcome him to East Tennessee, and I'd like to turn the podium to him to share a few comments. Director.
First of all, let me give a lot of credit to Steve for his leadership with our law enforcement partners across East Tennessee. 100% reporting, and that's for all of our mobilizations and our campaigns, and that's a great goal that Steve has reached, and he's added a lot of stability to that. But more importantly, that means that we've got more players at the table, and we've got more agencies that are working with us as we try to change driver behavior. The Governor's Highway Safety Office is tasked with reducing crashes and saving lives across the state of Tennessee. And most people know us through Booze It and Lose It and Click It or Ticket. And that's great. That's the way we want them to know us. But we can do all of the media in the world, all the radio, all the TV, all the social media that we want to do. But unless we've got enforcement to back that educational message up, then it's going to fall on deaf ears. So I just want to say thank you to all the men and women in law enforcement across the state, but particularly those that are represented here today from Hawkins County and Granger County, who are here supporting the Governor's Highway Safety Office. It's a partnership. It works both ways. We are primarily a grant awarding entity within state government. We take federal funds from the National Highway and Traffic Safety Administration, and we dispense those out based on data to agencies across the state of Tennessee. We've got a lot of grant awards standing behind us. And those grant awards go toward saving lives and reducing those crashes that we talked about in the state. We're on a really, really good pattern, in the state of Tennessee. Over the course of the last 10 years, we've seen fatal crashes reduced by a third. 33%. In fact, back in 2004, we had 1,339 fatalities on our roadways in the state of Tennessee. And now 3 of the last 5 years, we've been under 1,000. So we're now averaging over the last 5 years under 1,000. This year, we are actually 40 better than we were at this same time last year. So you can see we continually get better and better and better. But the bad news is that we're still talking about almost 1,000 lives lost on Tennessee roadways. And if you've had a chance to see the dynamic message signaging boards across the state that TDOT does, and there's 151 of those, we've worked very closely with Commissioner Schroer on the messaging and the fatality numbers that we post on there to bring public awareness to that. If you've seen that, you know that we are doing better. But again, every single one of those numbers that you see on there represents a life. And as Steve talked about, all the men and women that we work with in these agencies, they're the ones that have to go to somebody's door and knock on them, tell them that somebody has passed away. So we've always talked about booze and belts and speed. Now we've got the added epidemic of distracted driving. And what are we doing? Not just during the holiday season, but 365 days a year. And you talk about being proactive rather than reactive. And we like to think that we're proactive with our messaging. And we like to think we're proactive with our law enforcement. But sometimes we have to be reactive when we see numbers spike up in particular areas of the state. So when we see these numbers grow, what we want to do is engage our media partners, and you guys are phenomenal for being out here today. This is the way that we spread our message. This is the way that we get the idea about impaired driving. This is the way we get the idea out about wearing seat belts. I want to back up what Steve said about seat belt usage in the state of Tennessee. We are now at an all-time high in seatbelt usage. 87.71% of Tennesseans now wear their seatbelts. But if you look at our fatal crashes, over half of those crashes are unbelted. I'm not a mathematician, but I can tell you that that means that over half of our fatalities come from about 12 to 13% of our population. So your first defense in the event of a crash, whether it's your fault or not, is certainly wearing your seatbelt and addressing those high-risk drivers, particularly when it comes to impaired driving and particularly when it comes to the holiday season. We'll talk about Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year and all the parties that go along with that. We want people to have a good time. We're not here to keep people from having a good time. We just want you to know that the message is out there and know that the enforcement backs that up. It's a lot easier said than done than to change driver behavior. It's easy to say we're going to change driver behavior, but through what we call the 3 E's, through engineering and TDOT, making sure that our roads in themselves are physically safe, that's the engineering component of it. But then we talk about the educational portion. You guys play a big part in that, but the TV and the radio messages and continuing to use hardcore enforcement spots along with funny spots sometimes that will engage and capture the attention. But enforcement is what helps us do that, and we are glad to call all of these officers within Hawkins County and Granger County and everywhere in East Tennessee, our partners. They've done a terrific job, and we're here to give them another tool in their tool belt. We want to be able to provide the tools and resources that they need to keep their city and county streets safer, because that's what we're about. One life lost is too many, and we're here to be proactive and we're here to be reactive, and we want to help people understand that we do mean business. We're serious about saving lives in our state. I see us continuing on a great pattern as we go on through the years and reaching all of our goals, but if we've got one, it's too many. So I just want to thank everybody for being here today and for partnering with us in this effort. It takes everybody to get this done, and really appreciate you helping us get the message out during the holiday season. We appreciate Sheriff, Chief, everybody else that are here with us today that buy into that message, and we want to be able to help walk with them through this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director. One of our partners who's very integral in the goals and objectives that we have is the Tennessee Highway Patrol, and I appreciate Sergeant Greer being with us today, and I'd ask him to come forward and share a few words with you, Sergeant.
Just to echo what Director Poole said, you know, that one fatality is one too many, and you know, having to go to anybody's door at any time of the year, I can speak for just about every officer here, having to knock on that door and tell somebody's family that they've been killed in a car crash is one of the hardest things that we have to do, to have to be the bearer of bad news. And we all don't want to do that at any point in our job, but unfortunately we do have to do that. And that's why we work so hard to keep from having to do that and to keep everybody safe out here on the roadway. For the Highway Patrol, we've been trying to think outside the box, especially here in Hawkins and Granger County, on what are some enforcement initiatives that we can take to keep the roads safer out here. We've been using some unmarked vehicles. We've been a little operation called Troopers and Trucks, where we use actually unmarked pickup trucks to look for texting while driving and not wearing seat belts, along with our standard driver's license and sobriety checkpoints, as well as safety belt checkpoints as well. Now, looking at some of the numbers here in Hawkins County, now we're at +9 fatal crashes. 8 of those, the seat belt was not in use. But looking at our enforcement efforts, our seat belt citations have went up 51% for the Highway Patrol this year alone compared to last year. And as far as alcohol and drug presence involved in these crashes, 21% of the crashes, fatal crashes, have involved drugs or alcohol. But then in Hawkins County, we've had a 4% increase in our DUI arrests. For Granger County, the same numbers. We've had a 27% increase in DUI enforcement and 47% increase in seatbelt citations. But then again, looking at the numbers for the fatal crashes, 57% of the fatal crashes, they were unrestrained. So Yeah, still at the end of the day, these crashes are being attributed to drinking and driving, using drugs, and not putting on that seatbelt. So unfortunately, we are going to have to be still out here and be in those people's rides to jail that don't heed our message that we are out here. But you know, we have a great working relationship with all of the sheriffs and the chiefs and all the departments here. We utilize our safety belt checkpoints and our sobriety checkpoints together with Highway Patrol and the local officers, deputies. And we have great success out here working on the roadways. But at the end of the day, I've always stressed this to my troopers, is it's all about saving lives at the end of the day. We're not about trying to see how many tickets we can write or how many DUIs we can put in jail. We know that that is the tools that we have to use to save lives, and that we will do that every day, every year. So, thank you all.
Thank you, Sergeant. I'd like to introduce to you Sheriff Harville from the Granger County Sheriff's Office, and certainly appreciate his leadership now with the agency and his partnership with us. And I'll turn the podium over to Sheriff Harville for a few comments.
I'd just like to thank the Governor's Highway Safety Office in basically coordinating all of the enforcement efforts especially during the holidays. I also want to thank all of the local agencies and the surrounding counties and the Highway Patrol for assisting us in all of our traffic crash investigation.
Thank you, Sheriff. Hawkins County is very blessed with the leadership of Sheriff Lawson, and I've met with him several times and had some great dialogue about what we're doing up this way with his agency, and I appreciate him and Chief Allen for being with us today. And at this time, I'll turn the podium over to Sheriff Lawson for a few comments.
I just want to thank the Governor's Highway Safety Program for their partnership, and also the Tennessee Highway Patrol. I know you've heard a lot of statistics today, and one that stands out in my mind, besides too many fatalities, is in the last 2 years, the crashes in Hawkins County has been cut in half. And I find that to the cooperation and the partnership between the Tennessee Highway Patrol, the Hawkins County Sheriff's Offices, and the local cities. It is a teamwork. We've got to work together. This grant that I've received has allowed me to have 2 officers extra a day just to work in high traffic areas and to work the seat belts. And it's allowed my officers to get equipment we wouldn't normally have. And this program's been an asset to me, and I really appreciate all their cooperation. And the Tennessee Highway Patrol, they went above and beyond in my county, and it's a team effort, and we're going to continue to work. And just like Sergeant Greer said, you know, at the end of the day, they're going to know we're out there because we're not letting up. We're going to try to save all the lives we can, and I appreciate everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. I felt it was important that we also involve our municipalities as well today, and I'd like to take a moment to introduce Chief Bryce Justice with the Bean Station Police Department, and for a few comments, Chief.
Thank you, Director Poole. Steve, thank you for what you do as well. I want to thank Sheriff Harville and also Sheriff Lawson, Chief Richard McGinnis for being here, and say thank you to the media. Also, we have Chief Jamie Winstead from Blaine with us. And what you see behind me is a team of law enforcement officers who've made up their minds and dedicated their lives, our lives, to saving life. It takes a team effort, and what GHSO has done is they have given us the opportunity and the ability to pull together our law enforcement agencies and our officers to get more patrol on our streets to keep our citizens and those who travel through our area safe. Through this kickoff of the Holiday Traffic Safety Campaign, as we launched this, Bean Station Police Department will be very much involved in participating. We will be involved with the impaired driving enforcement. We'll be conducting roadblocks. We'll be doing our neighborhood saturations. So we're going to do everything we can to let the citizens know of Bean Station and those who travel through this area that we care about them, and our goal is to see them to get where they're going safely so they can spend the holidays with the ones they love and that means the most to them. So again, let me say thank you to this great team, and that's what this is. THP and all the county and all law enforcement agencies. I want to thank them and the officers, and we wish you happy holidays. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. We also have today Chief Richard McGinnis from the Rutledge Police Department, a fine partner with our office. And Chief, I'll turn it over to you for a few comments.
I'd like to first off thank everyone for coming out and supporting the agencies in Granger and Hawkins County. It means a lot to us. I especially want to thank the Governor's Highway Safety Office for providing us with funds and education through training classes each year to help our citizens arrive alive. Their goal is to arrive alive, and this is the goal of the Rutledge Police Department too. As of Saturday, 842 fatalities on the roadway in Tennessee. In my opinion, one is way too many to have. Back in 2004, as Director Poole said, we was at an all-time high of 1,339 fatalities. As you can see, the programs that the Governor's Highway Safety Office has in place is working. And their goal this year, I believe, is to have under 900 deaths. The fatalities in our county, Granger County, currently stands at 7 for the year. The Rutledge Police Department is dedicated to stepping up our patrols and our enforcement during the holidays to help reach this goal. As mentioned, the seatbelt use in Tennessee is 87.71%. But the problem we have, the seatbelt use in trucks is at 79.06%. And that's what we'll be focusing on as a department. The Rutledge Police Department will also be ringing in the new year by helping our citizens arrive alive. Something that I want to share with you, back when I was starting my career, I had a trooper stand up and said that it was ending his shift one Saturday afternoon. It was in the morning hours, and he got dispatched to a wreck with injury. When he arrived, he noticed that this was a bad accident, that one of them was a fatality, a young teenage girl. He said that as he conducted his investigation there and was clearing it up, it was his duty to go to that family's house and let that parents know that they'd lost a loved one on the roadways. Alcohol was involved in the crash, and it's always tragic when you have to tell a loved one that. He said as he knocked on the door, the father answered the door, and he could tell when a trooper shows up at your house early morning hours that you know it's going to be bad news. And all he could say is, "She all right?" Trooper had to say, "No, she's deceased." And his rage, and he said, you know, I had to tell him also that there was alcohol involved and she was drinking. And he said in his rage, he said, "I'll kill the person that gave her that alcohol." He was mad, he was upset, he had a lot of feelings going on there. Probably really didn't mean what he said. And after he spoke with him a few minutes, the trooper left, was going on home. Said he received a phone call a few days later. It was that father. He said, "Trooper, I need to tell you something." He said, "After you left my residence," he said, "I had to have something to calm my nerves." He said, "I was just uneasy." So he said, "I went to my cabinet where I keep my alcohol, and I reached up and opened the door. There was a little note from that girl that said, 'Dad, I didn't think you would mind. I borrowed one of your bottles.'" How tragic that must be. It doesn't matter where the alcohol comes from. It doesn't matter where you get it. If you drink and drive on the roads of Rutledge, in the city of Rutledge, we're going to provide the transportation for you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chief, for your comments. As he stated, I want to make sure to recognize, though, Chief Winstead from Blaine PD. We're glad to have you with us today. Dustin Dean with the Churchill Police Department is here with us as well. So I guess in closing, what I'd like to say to you is, are we serious about our message? Absolutely. Do we care? This is a small number of people, but I can tell you this whole entire area cares about you, the driver. So drive safely, be careful, and I hope that this will be a great time of fellowship and festivities with your families, and that we don't have to come to your door with some tragic news. Director Poole will be available if any of the media would like to speak to him, as well as any of the speakers. But thank you again to all our media folks for coming out. We appreciate you. This press event is concluded.